this area of the body is not just about looks. If we can teach you and or start to open your mind on how to think about exercising your core to keep the health of your core up, your body is going to be functioning so much better. And when your body functions well, it stays healthy, and again, it allows you to do the things you want to do, which is, again, the biggest reason why we think you should be exercising.
Welcome to the Exercise is Health podcast, where we're talking about exercise, health, and the interconnectedness of the two. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we will be coming to you every single week from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Exercise is Health podcast. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we are coming to you from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg in Schaumburg, Illinois. Now, at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, we believe your health is your most valuable asset. Your health is one of the biggest influencers of the quality and quantity of time that you have. And while there are many aspects of health, our expertise is exercise. Exercise has been proven time and again to not only improve your health, but also increase your longevity and improve your quality of life. And if you are looking for guidance on how to exercise on your own while still receiving the quality of instruction that we give our clients here at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, we have a program specifically for that. It's called our virtual membership program, and we want you to go to matschaumburg.com, click on the membership tab, and enroll in the program so you can learn more about it. Because here's the thing, so often we feel like, whatever we see everybody else at the gym doing, that's what we should be doing too. But the reality is the appropriateness of the exercise dictates the effectiveness of it. And that appropriateness is determined by what your body can and can't do. So if you feel like you're not getting the results from your workouts, make sure to enroll in our virtual membership program to get workouts that are custom built for your body, improve the appropriateness of it, and improving the effectiveness of them.
Don't forget, we have the Schaumburg Health Summit coming up on May 18th, 2019, happening in Schaumburg from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is an event you are not going to want to miss. Yes, we are going to give you breakfast and lunch because we know 9 to 2 can be a little bit long, but we have a lineup of 11 rock star health professionals coming to speak to you about something that they are learning about in their field. They're coming to educate you on what they are doing every single day. So if you like TED Talks, this is going to be similar to TED Talks, but only health. So we have blended mental health professionals to holistic people to medical professionals, skincare, exercise. So you are not going to want to miss this event. We also have great sponsors that will keep you entertained on the breaks with all their fun activities. So make sure you go to www.schaumburghealthsummit.com and purchase your tickets today.
Now today we are talking to you about exercise and addressing one of the more common things that we used to hear, and maybe it's dying down a little bit, maybe just because we kind of shelter ourselves from the traditional fitness industry, but every once in a while when we flip up in Instagram and look to see what else is going on in the fitness world, it seems like these ideas are alive and well. And so we need to address them directly. And the ideas that we're going to be talking about today is how to exercise effectively for your core. Because so often we get this myth about the core that it only needs to be trained in neutral and you only need to be doing, no crunches for it. And you only need to be doing planks and all these other things about the core and the core muscles. And we need to pause for a second and address some of those and talk about how do you actually effectively exercise for your core.
And this is a big one because I think we all know that our core is important, but also this word core and how to train our core is very ambiguous. I mean, ask your friends that aren't fitness professionals and you'll get different answers on what core is, what's good for your core. Ask a professional. Everyone will have a different opinion on what core is and what's good for your core. So it's not just the consumers, but even the people that are expected to be educated about the core are the ones that are also confusing the matter. So that's why we have to talk about it today. But I will give you this. The authorities in core today are often, unfortunately, the ones that have a good-looking core or whatever we decide is good-looking. So like if you have a six-pack, we think that they know all the answers to core or to how to get that six-pack, right? So we're going off of a look. So we really have to be mindful of that because a lot of the look of your core is genetic. It is not the way that you knew how to train it or not to train it. So first of all, A lot of us decide that a core exercise is effective when it has stuff like a burning sensation, or we quote unquote feel it, whatever that is supposed to mean, which I'm not sure, but everyone's sensation will be different. So sometimes we go off of the effectiveness of core by sensations. We also kind of will go off of by how we feel the next day, right? So like, oh, I did a great core workout. Let me tell my best friend because I was sore the next day. That means it must have done something good. And also, it's again looks based. So we trust the people that have the certain look. So this whole idea of training and functioning of the core gets really convoluted and is very, very confusing. So stay tuned because all the stuff I just listed, you're probably nodding your head thinking, yeah, I was on social media and I tried the core workout because someone said it was good, or it burned the next day, or it came from someone that has a six-pack themselves, or something along those lines. We got to be a little more specific than this.
Well, Julie, that's such a great point, because when it comes to training the core, all the credentials we usually ever look for are, well, what does a person look like with their shirt off? Like, that's really all we're looking for. And any Instagram post that's, worth its weight would have the person doing a core exercise with their shirt off, which is essentially all they need to show you that, well, this is a good core workout. And it's completely ridiculous. And that's how so much of the fitness industry is. But specifically when it comes to working the core, when it comes to working abs, it tends to be all about looks and not about, well, what's actually being challenged here? How's the body functioning before you do the workout? How's it functioning during the workout, and how's it functioning after the workout? And all those things really need to be taken into consideration if we're going to talk about effectively training the core muscles and being able to do so not just today, not just for the next 3 weeks, but doing so for the rest of your life. Because really, when it comes to making sure that your posture is good, that the joints in your back stay supported, like your spine, when your spine stays supported and all the facet joints stay moving well, it is vital that your muscles stay functioning well. And being able to effectively do exercises for those muscles is a huge part of that.
And to all of our listeners, you guys know Charlie and I are health nuts, and that's why we named our podcast Exercise is Health. So there is so much more to working your core, strengthening your core, adding function to your core than just a look. There is a quality, and again, this is the hugest part of keeping your muscles strong, keeping your core healthy and keeping the characteristics and the properties of your core healthy. Remember, parts of your core is your spine, is the abdominal wall that protects all your vital organs up front, including what's underneath your rib cage. A lot of your core muscles yank on your rib cage. They leverage your rib cage. So this area of the body is not just about looks. If we can teach you and or start to open your mind on how to think about exercising your core to keep the health of your core up, your body is going to be functioning so much better. And when your body functions well, it stays healthy. And again, it allows you to do the things you want to do, which is, again, the biggest reason why we think you should be exercising.
So let's start to dive into this and suggest how we think you should be thinking about the core, or how we are going to frame this conversation in terms of thinking about the core. So we kind of have two criteria, all right? So when it comes to thinking about the core and core exercises, first, are those exercises improving your ability to move your trunk? And secondly, are those exercises improving your ability to withstand stress to the trunk, okay? And so in other words, are those exercises improving the function of the muscles that attach to your ribs, that attach to your pelvis, that attach to your spine? These kind of trunk muscles that we often label as the core muscles, are the exercises that you're doing improving those? Or are they just creating a burning sensation or, creating soreness there? How are you actually sure that the exercises you're doing are improving the function of those muscles and not just changing the sensation within those muscles?
When we think about applying this to everyday life, one way you can start thinking about it, and I think this is probably the easiest way to think about it, is when you're doing your core exercises, and of course it's not just going to be one workout that changes your life, but if you think about after you've been doing your core exercises for a couple months, do your ability to do things with your core in your daily life improve? For example, are you able to bend over more often and not have back flare-ups, or in air quotes, throw out your back? Or are you able to go golfing for longer without having any negative repercussions? Or are you able to twist around and grab something from your pantry from behind your back without having sensations? So these are signs, and these show when you're able to control and move your spine or your core better. And also it shows that you're able to withstand force on your spine better. So your core exercises that you do in the gym should be showing themselves in your daily life with those things that you're doing that require movement of the core. What we don't want to see is that your gym workouts take away from your ability to move throughout the day. So for example, you probably know someone like this, maybe it's you, but you say, I can do everything, but if I twist, it's going to be the worst thing ever. So that not only is a sign that you need to strengthen the muscles that would support and allow the twisting motion to occur, but it also is showing, if that's a result from your workout, that workout or those exercises were not doing your body well.
A couple other things I want to add to that list of activities that will show that the workouts are actually improving your body are, number one, if you're able to sit for longer periods of time without your back or your hips tightening up. A lot of people that we see, they're doing their workouts, but they're like, every time I sit in my car for, more than 20 minutes, or when I'm at my office chair, I can only sit there for an hour before I have to stand up and move around. Like, that is an indication that the muscles that are supposed to be supporting your trunk and supporting your hips actually aren't functioning better if you're not able to do those things for longer without starting to feel like you're tightening up. Okay. So that would be a clear indicator that something needs to change with your workouts and the exercises you're doing. The second thing to also add to the list is the number of positions you can sleep in increasing or decreasing. Like, when you think about how you're sleeping, are you somebody that says, well, if I'm going to fall asleep, I have to lie on my right side with a medium firm pillow under my head and 3 pillows between my knees, and any other position aside from that, I can't fall asleep? Or are you somebody that can say, I don't even know how I fall asleep because I can pretty much sleep in whatever position I want? If you're more towards the latter, awesome. If you're more towards the former, then that's an indication that something needs to change with your muscular system in order to better support your structure, so your body's not as stressed in various positions. And your exercise is something that can help to support that. And so if you feel like you're not trending in the direction of, you're able to sleep in more positions, well, then your exercise is not nearly as effective as it could be. And therefore, we need to change some things about how you're exercising.
So what we're trying to share with you, obviously, is how your core exercise at the gym or at your home, wherever you're doing your core exercises, can relate to everyday life. But remember that the big thing is that these things, your ability to do these activities, remember, like how I said, bending over, moving around, golfing, twisting, rotating. Charlie brought up some good ones, sleeping or sitting for long periods of time. These are the things that are signs that your health is changing, that your muscles are becoming more tolerant of more positions, more motions, and more stressors. Because the more resilient your body is, the more resilient your body is to injuries, to aches and pains that might arrive. And injuries and aches and pains are the things that really knock people out from exercise. And we really have to be keeping your body, training your body to be healthy so that you can continue to be healthy and continue to do the things you want. So let's jump into the motions of the core that you should be thinking about when you're exercising. Now, a lot of times when we think about core, we also think about muscles, right? So some of the popular ones are like your abs, your obliques. You might even, if you're really advanced, you might have heard of spinal erectors. We actually prefer to think about the core in motions rather than muscles. And here's why. It is very, very, very difficult to actually isolate muscles when you're doing core because they're all laying on top of each other. They're intertwined with each other. They're all diagonals on top and above each other. So it's very difficult to not work something when you're trying to work core. So we actually prefer to think about your core in motions. And you can think about your core doing 4 different motions. Well, 3, and then I'll tell you how it turns into 4. So think about your core doing 3 different motions. So we have front and back motion. So like if you slouch forward and you extend back, that's one motion, right? So forward and back motion. We also have side to side motion, and we have a rotating motion. So rotating right, rotating left. So when you're training your core, you want to be thinking about doing exercises that challenge these 3 motions: front to back, side to side, and rotate. Now, there's something fancy about the forward back motion that doesn't really happen with the side to side motion and the rotation motion. So we have to talk about the forward back motion really quick. So the forward back motion is going to be like your crunching stuff and your spinal extensory stuff. And the reason that we have to actually divide this 1 point and make it 2, which would give us a total of 4 motions, right? Front motion, back motion, side motions, rotation motion, is because the way that you challenge your front and back motions are going to be very different, and they're going to look very different from each other. Meaning that when you strengthen your forward cruncher motions, it's a completely different and very different exercise than when you strengthen your extensor motion or your leaning back motion. But when you rotate to the right and train your right rotator muscles, and you rotate to your left and you train your left rotator muscles, those are very similar. So when I say that there's 3 motions, it's a great way to think about remembering forward, back, side to side, rotate, rotate. But when you think about taking it to the gym, think about training 4 motions, because we have to think about the forward stuff, which looks very different than the back stuff, which looks very different than the side to side, and very different from the trunk rotation.
Yeah, Julie, you're absolutely correct. We have these 4 different things that we're looking at for the trunk from a motion standpoint. So we have this kind of crunching forward motion, we have this sitting upright motion, we have this rotation motion, and then we have this side to side kind of side bendish motion. So that is point number 1 that we need you thinking about. If you're going to effectively create exercises for your core, you need to be challenging these 4 different motions: crunching forward, extending back, rotating the trunk, and then this side to side motion. Point number 2, if you're going to effectively create exercise for the core, is you have to create challenges that specifically challenge those 4 motions. Okay. So creating challenges, what do I mean by creating challenges? Creating exercises. Okay. So you have to do exercises that specifically challenge those 4 motions. All right. So we know which 4 motions the trunk does. Now we need to create exercise that specifically challenges those 4 motions. So often what we see in the fitness industry is when it comes to core work, people are doing all these different exercises from like a neutralish position. And that's fine and well. You know, think of like planks. Okay. Think of like anti-rotation stuff. And all that stuff is an option. All right. That is a challenge. But we need you challenging your core beyond just this kind of neutralist position. We need you challenging your core in a position where you're actually crunching forward, in a position where you're actually moving backwards and extending the spine, with exercises where you're turning from side to side and where you're bending from side to side, okay? Reason being is these will help challenge your muscles in a variety of different lengths, okay, which is really important to the health and function of the muscles. It's also going to challenge the joints of your trunk in a variety of different positions, which is super important for the health of the joints of the trunk, all right? Specifically, the facet joints of the vertebrae, okay? Each of the vertebrae that make up the spine have these little facet joints, and they move in very specific ways. And being able to move in the manner that they are structurally designed to move, and move as far as structurally they're allowing you to move, is really important. And so being able to do exercises for these different kind of 4 motions of the trunk is vital to making sure that you're effectively training your core and you're stimulating all the different muscles of your trunk.
Yeah, it's interesting because everywhere in the body, we kind of acknowledge that, like, hey, it'd be good for me to do full range of motion here. Like, we use that word just so, lightly and loosely, which is fine, whatever. But sometimes when it comes to the core, we don't really think that way. And the core exercises that we do or are given or see in magazines are what Charlie's talking about, this like, don't move the core, even though it's a challenge on the core. So examples of these might be like a plank, right? So you're working your core but not moving it. So yes, it's stimulus to the core, but again, it's not everything you should do because you still have to do the full range of motion for that motion. Another example is I've seen ones where people are on all fours and they're lifting arms and legs and they're just stabilizing their core. Again, great stabilization exercise, but you're still not getting the whole picture. One time I was chatting with a Pilates instructor, which Pilates is always known as like the golden star thing of all core activation exercises. And she goes, it's funny because most of the exercises we do here in Pilates is a lot of moving my arms and moving my legs and don't move the core, which doesn't mean you're not activating your core, but it also means that you're not doing the whole picture. So Charlie, I love that point. You have to be actually doing challenges through the range of motion for the different four motions that the core allows. Now this takes us to our next point, which is, again, you have to be challenging the core in these four motions and not always doing it as a secondary or not a direct primary challenge. Let me give you an example of this, and I already gave you some actually. So a lot of exercises, have you ever noticed that people will say, oh, brace your core when you do it? Right? So I'm working my legs, but I'm bracing my core. So it takes away from the leg stimulus so that you can activate your core. And for sometimes not a very good reason, or it's not providing any extra benefit or safety benefit or stimulus benefit. So be mindful if you're a chronic core activator and you like to activate your core on everything. Sometimes it's appropriate to activate your core during exercise. And most times it's actually a distraction from what you're actually trying to work and stimulate. Another example is when you're doing an exercise that involves so much stuff, but also involves the core. For example, a plank. Have you ever noticed when you do a plank, your shoulders are on fire and then your toes are burning too because they're totally crunched up and your hip flexors are on fire? Yeah, I know. Me too. Mm-hmm. And we're using it as a core exercise. So clearly, if it's working all those areas, it's not very effective at only challenging the core. Again, this is another example of not moving through the range, but it's also an example of a core exercise that involves a whole bunch of other junk. So it's not a clear, this is the one where I'm calling, it's not a clear first place winner, right? So planks are fine, but again, they're not going to be the exercise that's more specific, meaning because it's involving a whole bunch of different joints and a whole bunch of different muscles, it takes away from your ability to focus and tune in on just the core tissue. So make sure that you're also doing exercises for your core that are specific and are clear first place winners. Here are some examples. When you do a slow controlled crunch, I don't know about you, but I pretty much only feel my abs working. That's a great one. Or when I do a side bend on our core pad from the resistance training specialist program, that's where we get that device. But I really feel my side benders. I'm not feeling hips. I'm not feeling my arm. I'm not feeling my shoulder muscles. I'm really feeling and able to activate and control with my side bender muscles. So these are two examples of really finding exercises where your core is the first place winner, the first trophy prize of what you're challenging.
Julie, this is such a key point because oftentimes when we think about core exercises, we think about exercises that involve our core or use our core, but are not necessarily specific for our core. All right. So how often have you seen somebody doing an exercise like a single leg deadlift or whatever? And they're saying, well, because I'm balancing on one leg, this is going to involve more core. And so like, this is my core work for the day. So, well, okay, there's definitely an additional challenge because of the balance component. And because of that balance component, there might be a greater requirement of your core. But is that greater requirement of your core, like, does that even compare to the requirements of the core during, like you were saying, like a really specific crunch or a really specific side bend? And oftentimes it's not even close. So when you're thinking about core exercises, make sure that they're not exercises that just involve the core or use the core, but that actually focus on the muscles of the core and challenging those muscles specifically. So move away from the balance type exercises, move away from the exercises that are like single arm, single leg. Look, those are great exercises and those definitely involve the core, but that shouldn't take the place of your exercises that are specifically for the core.
So let's review these action steps just so they're fresh in your brain. You have to know the 4 motions that your core does, and let's review those. That's the forward motion, the back motion, the side bend motion, and the trunk rotation motion. We also have to be thinking about challenging and or creating exercises for these 4 motions. So when you're thinking, I've got to work core, that means you need to be challenging the motion of forward, challenging the back motion when you're arching your back, leaning back, the side bending motion, which is when you kind of take your rib cage down to your hip, and you need to be thinking about challenging the rotation motion where your trunk rotates side to side. It's like a twisting motion. Also, you need to keep in mind, we need to be challenging our core in full range of motion. We want to be doing different positions of our core, not just neutral. A lot of times we're thinking about keeping our trunk neutral and stabilizing it, and that's enough for your core, but you actually do need to be moving through these 4 motions and using all the positions of those 4 motions, forward, back, side, side. The last and definitely not least, make sure you're doing core exercises that are specific to challenge your core, not just exercises that involve the core. These are going to be the exercises that really highlight the core tissue versus exercises that involve a whole bunch of joints or a whole bunch of other muscles, and that can really take away and distract you from actually getting the appropriate and effective stimulus to your core.
Now, all of these points will help you build the health and function of your core. But if you want to learn more about how to build the health and function of your body overall, we have an event coming up that you are definitely going to want to check out. It's called the Schaumburg Health Summit, and it's coming to Schaumburg, the Fairfield Inn & Suites, Saturday, May 18th. Running from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., we have an awesome lineup of speakers ready to rock the house. So please head on over to www.schaumburghealthsummit.com to learn more about the event, to purchase tickets. You can also find the event on Facebook. If you go to our Facebook page, the MAT Schaumburg, Muscle Activation Schaumburg Facebook page, you can look on the events going on that page, and you can find the Schaumburg Health Summit for 2019. So check it out. RSVP, yes, if you're going. Make sure to purchase tickets. Make sure to share the event with somebody that you think might be interested, and check out our speaker lineup. These people are phenomenal, and a number of them have been guests on previous podcasts, so you can already learn a little bit about them just by checking out our podcast episodes. And speaking of podcast episodes, who do you know that needs to hear this episode? Who do you know who is not effectively training their core muscles? Share this episode with them so the next time they go to the gym, they can get a better return on their time and effort that they're investing every single time they go to work out. And while you're online, if you wouldn't mind, head on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. It means the world to us when you do this, because it helps other people find this information who are looking for exercise and health related podcasts. So if you've done it already, thank you. It really, really is meaningful to us when you do that. And if you haven't yet, what's stopping you? It takes a few seconds and it makes a huge difference. Thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week. We'll talk with you all next week.